What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Mike's Reef Tank. On today's episode, we're going to talk about inverts that you should avoid in your nano-reef aquarium. And when I'm saying nano-reef, I'm talking about 40 gallons or less. Through this video, I'm going to give you examples of invertebrates that you should not keep in a nano-reef aquarium, but I will also add in some alternatives that could be really good for your aquarium. All pictures in this video have been taken straight from liveaquaria.com. You guys should check them out. They have a good selection of inverts, fish, and corals to purchase. Alright, let's get this started with sea stars. First sea star on the list will be the orange sea star. These starfish need a larger aquarium than a nano to be able to thrive. You're going to want a tank with a lot of water so you don't have any swings in your parameters, and also it needs a lot of rock and sand to graze. Next star on the list, we have sand sifting stars. Now, sand sifting stars are really good for cleaning your sand in your tank. Unfortunately, like I mentioned before, for the orange star, they need a larger tank so that they have plenty to eat. If you try to put these guys in a 20 gallon, there won't be much to eat in the sand and they will starve. Now, if you're looking for an alternative sand sifter for your nano aquarium, I suggest the Nasarius snail. These guys need a lot less food source than the sand sifting star. They're great at sifting your sand. They will eat any detritus. They will come out of the sand when they smell food and eat all your leftovers, so your tank stays clean. Another star to avoid in a nano-reef aquarium is the serpent star. I made a bad decision, put one of these in my first nano-reef aquarium. They need to be in at least a 40 gallon to give them enough food source to be able to thrive, and also the size that they can grow up to, which is about a foot. My experience of putting this in a smaller aquarium is it did not have enough food source, so it seeked out other prey and it ended up eating some of my crabs, including a porcelain crab. Stay away from these guys unless you have a larger aquarium. Alright, let's talk about urchins. Although pincushion urchins can be kept in a 20 gallon minimum tank, there can be a couple issues that are caused by urchins. While some species do really well in a reef aquarium, some species can be destructive towards your corals and your rock. I've had a little bit of this experience with mine in my aquarium. He is scraping my rock off as he eats. He's picking up my frag plugs and moving them throughout the aquarium, which is stressing out coral, and I believe that's the reason why I'm having so many issues with my Jingle Bell Cyphastria. He will grab my snails, he'll grab my hermits, and take them for a ride around the aquarium as he tries to hide himself by putting shells on the top of his head like a top hat. And these guys are little mini bulldozers. So I've been going back and forth about should I keep mine in there or not, because they are really good at eating hair algae and cleaning your tank. Alright, let's talk about crabs. First on the list of crabs you should probably not keep in a nano aquarium is a Sally Lightfoot crab. These crabs can become coral predators as they grow larger in your aquarium. They could also end up picking on other inhabitants in your tank, so I would avoid keeping Sally Lightfoots in a nano. Another crab that I learned the hard way to stay away from in a nano-reef aquarium is the arrow crab. I kept one of these in a 28 gallon nano and I had issues with them eating other inhabitants in my tank. I'm assuming this is because they didn't have enough of a food source. So I ended up losing some peppermint shrimp to an arrow crab. Some good choices for crabs that will work in a nano aquarium. So definitely, blue legs, your red legs, your scarlets. They do a really good job at eating detritus and eating algae in your aquarium. But let's talk about other ones like this one, which is the emerald crab. They do pretty well in a nano-reef aquarium. They enjoy eating bubble algae. I put one in mine to try to take care of my bubble algae issues. Let's see what happens with that. And the only thing with emerald crabs, sometimes they go after zoanthids and you want to monitor that just to make sure everything's okay. But usually these guys are pretty good in a nano-reef aquarium. Another crab that's really cool for a nano-reef aquarium to see a symbiotic relationship is the porcelain crab. These crabs will hang out in rock flower anemones. Shows a cool symbiotic relationship, and they won't hassle any other corals or any other tank mates. Alright, let's talk about shrimp. And we're going to start with the mantis shrimp. Mantis shrimp are really cool invertebrates, very colorful if you get like the peacock, but the issue is that they're a very aggressive predator and they will easily harm inhabitants in your tank and potentially damage your corals. So mana shrimp can be kept in a nano aquarium, but you do not want to keep them in your reef aquarium. These are better suited for single species tanks. If you want to do that, they'll be fine in a 20-gallon aquarium, and you could observe their cool behaviors. Next up on the list, we have the camel shrimp or camelback shrimp. These shrimp can be very aggressive and harm corals and other shrimp or even snails in your aquarium. So this is one of those shrimps that you want to stay away from in a nano reef. Another one on our list of shrimps is the coral banded shrimp. While some of these species can be very beneficial to your aquarium, they also may prey on desirable snails and even your hermit crabs in your aquarium. So I feel the risk of having this one in your tank and end up hurting your other cleanup crew is just not worth it, and keep this one out of a nano aquarium. Shrimp that do awesome in a nano reef aquarium. First on the list is sexy shrimp. These guys are really cool. They get their name from moving their butts around in a little circular pattern, kind of like a dance. And these guys will also have a great symbiotic relationship with rock flower anemone. So you can get a rock flower in there. I didn't explain this earlier, but rock flower anemones don't move as much as other anemones. They'll primarily stay in the spot that you put them. So they're a good choice for an anemone in your aquarium. They're not going to move around like bubble tips and sting your corals. They'll usually just stay in the same spot you put them. But to see that symbiotic relationship with the rock flower with what I mentioned before, the porcelain crab or the sexy shrimp, is a pretty cool thing to have in your aquarium. Another shrimp you can put in your aquarium that also shows a symbiotic relationship is the pistol shrimp. I've got a candy cane pistol shrimp in my aquarium now with the yellow Watchman goby, and they've become a dynamic duo, and it's pretty cool to observe in your aquarium. And last for shrimp that I'm going to recommend if you want to have shrimp in a nano aquarium is cleaner shrimp. And the main three cleaner shrimp that usually people keep in their aquariums are the peppermint shrimp. These guys can help with aptasia control. And then we got the blood red fire shrimp and the scarlet skunk shrimp. Any one of these three cleaner shrimps are a great addition to a nano reef aquarium. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Hit that like button, comment down below if you feel like I missed anything for this list, and subscribe for more reefing goodness. And as always, happy reefing.